This episode of Play the Game podcast is brought to you by HK Army, and PTG listeners, do I have a treat for you. If you are playing NXL Chicago, HK Army is offering a special paint promo to PTG listeners only. HK has made constant improvements to their paintball formula, which is leading to more consistent results come tournament time. Myself and the entire Houston Heat squad have been feasting with HK Army paint at the events, and I can't wait to see you all out there in Chicago shooting it soon. You will even be able to test the event paint yourself at NXL Chicago once you arrive at the venue. Be sure to email teams@hkarmy.com. That is TEAMS at HKARMY.com. and ask for the PTG Paint promo to find out how your team can get the hookup on paintballs for NXL Chicago. Don't wait. Do it right now. Email teams@hkarmy.com. This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram @LoneWolfPB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It feels good to be back in the studio after a long trip to Europe. We won over there with Team USA. We got to talk about that. We uploaded a video on the road. Hope you guys got to see that episode. If you haven't, go back and watch it. Tyler and myself sat down in Europe, had this beautiful background. We were together in person for the first time ever doing a PTG show, so it was pretty cool. But this episode, we have Steve Dougherty from Wrecking Crew and also from Play the Game. He is the creative director for PTG and somebody who has been involved with PTG from the very beginning and a huge part of our growth and somebody that we truly admire, and getting his story out there to the rest of you, it seems like it was about time. So we finally gave him his episode, and without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
Today's episode of PTG is brought to you by the one and only Trans Labs that brought the world two amazing products. First off, Transfuse, which is a hydration multiplier, and most recently, they just dropped Transcend, which is a nootropic energy formula. No matter what you use, when you choose Trans Labs, you are going to be boosted and you are going to be ready to charge the paintball field and win out there. With Transfuse, that is a premium rapid hydration multiplier and immunity fortifying formula scientifically designed to replenish you at the cellular level. And they use all natural ingredients in this product. We've got zinc, we've got vitamin B6, we've got vitamin C, sodium, potassium, choline, and it is an amazing way to make sure that you're hydrated and prepared to play top-level paintball. When it comes to Transcend, that is a premium nootropic energy formula designed to increase cognitive performance, elevate mood and clarity, while supporting long-term brain health, and it's going to leave you feeling great with no crash or jitters. It's one of the only products in the nootropic space backed by research studies to ensure the formula is correct for optimal performance. It is more potent than anything on the market, and it will keep you charged and ready to win out there. I take one scoop, but if you're stimulant sensitive, take a half scoop. And if you want that LFG dose to launch to the moon, dump 2 scoops in your drink and you are going to be flying down that paintball field. Comes in 2 delicious flavors, Baja Blast and Skittles Candy for the Transcend. And for the Transfuse, they have 2 new flavors as well, Pineapple Express and Hawaiian Punched. So if you get a chance, head over to translabs.com. That's TRANZLABS.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME and you'll get 10% off. If you subscribe to a monthly delivery service, you also get 10% off as well. So you can take advantage of 20% off on these products. Head over to translabs.com and give it a go.
That was
An insane inside move by Marcello Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harmon saved that game. Came out with 2 wins. Marcello Margot was on fire.
Welcome, PTG Nation. It's live from the Super Duty. I'm inside of the Ford Super Duty truck. We're coming to you live from Texas right now. We got young Stevie, the PTG overlord, Steve Dougherty, and we are so happy to have you here, dude. We've had you a part of the family for so long now, and it's only right that you have your own amazing episode number 209. Shout out to NorCal one time. That is my area code that I grew up in. So it's an honor to have you hold down 209. How you doing, bro?
Dude, first off, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing fantastic. Just had a great weekend of paintball, ready to rock and roll. Chicago in a couple days. What's better than an NXL event, man?
Dude, it's coming up quick. How you doing, Marchie?
Oh, man, I'm pretty fantastic. You know, it seems like we've been on the road for a lot of these shows. Seeing you in the car right now, I'm just kind of laughing, thinking of our iPad setup we had in France a week ago. It's been a little bit since we've had, like, you know, sitting down at the desk and had us both home, but things have been a little crazy. We've been on the go. The last 3 weeks have been all over the place. So, yeah, I'm excited. We just got back from Texas, had a really good practice with X Factor. It was incredibly hot out there. I mean, it was ridiculous. I don't understand. Not only was it hot in the daytime, that's where you were, right? You were in,
I was just a few hours away from you.
Yeah. So what was it like? Was it
same? Hot.
Yeah. What's crazy is it's 105 during the day. All right, cool. But at 11 p.m., it's 101. Like
no reprieve.
It's crazy. There was like no relief. It was unbelievable, dude. It was really, really hot. Like things were just breaking in the hotel. Air conditioners were going out left and right. I'm not kidding. Like, dude, the amount of times I saw one of the technicians in the elevator with a AC unit going up and down, I was like, dude, this is crazy. Ryan's went out. On one of the last nights, there was like this huge power surge. And I was rooming with Yosh, and we were just sitting in the room, and like all the lights started flickering. The microwave was going on and off. It was crazy. AC was going in and out. And the AC like didn't work the rest of the night, and it was super hot. It's crazy out there, man. Texas is
I saw someone had a thermometer gun, and on the turf, it was 151 degrees.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I have this Band-Aid on right now. If I took this off, I got a nasty, nasty scab under there. That ain't nothing there, Steve. We got some on there.
That. Yeah, no, I felt the same way. Just our experience was not that bad. So it was quiet like about how nice it was.
The weekend I was out there with you guys, Steve, it was like mid 90s and humid. That was pretty bad. This was another level because it was again like over 100 and humid. Oh, it's brutal. You dive. It's funny. I was playing in a short sleeve shirt with my elbow pads. And one of the points, Kevin's like, okay, well, you're doing a play where you're basically going to end up in the snake. And I was like, all right, sweet. Oh man, this is going to hurt. I just knew it because it's so hot and I didn't have a jersey over my elbow pads. And sure enough, I go to dive and it was like I felt the ground melting my skin as I was diving, you know, and I just felt, I felt it. And then sure enough, I mean, this thing is like pretty gnarly looking. Got to keep it clean. You know,
I did that.
Shout out to all you snake players.
Yeah, seriously, y'all the MVPs out there. I did that 100%. Recently out in Arizona where I was just wearing, you know, some pads and then got a gnarly burn on my arm. So I definitely feel your pain on that. It was cooking. And I do want to say shout out to Team USA. We did it. We won the tournament out there. Congratulations to every one of the USA teams. We swept it. So it was an amazing weekend.
We're veterans, the women's, the men's, the U19s, the U16s, right? Yeah. And then the U19s went and played semi-pro in the same event and also won. They beat Malloy's team in the semifinals. It was an epic weekend for the USA program. Went over there, absolutely dominated. One of the coolest experiences was getting to room with you over there, Ty, and play with you again for Team USA. It was fantastic. We had a blast. I will definitely cherish that one, man. That was awesome.
And I have to say the road episode was awesome. You guys sitting next to each other, like letting it rip with the road microphone, the background. It was a great episode.
Dude, I got it again.
Oh. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. That's why you sound so good.
Coffee down.
Yeah. Super Duty spilled coffee in the Super Duty. Hopefully that isn't Sarge's.
We got the nice weather tech. We got the weather tech in here. So
there you go. Perfect.
got on my notes a little bit here. If you want to check out the YouTube, I'm inside of a truck right now, parked out, ripping on the Wi-Fi from Starbucks. We got Panda behind me, so we're holding it down in the Super Duty right now.
For the culture.
For the culture.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, Steve. So was that up to as far as from like a creative standpoint? Was that episode? I thought our background was pretty nice. I thought we did a good job. We had a nice little castle in the background, the bell. We brought in some audio. We made sure to have the bell tower go off every like 20 minutes in the episode. So it was, I thought the audio was great. How'd you feel?
You know what? All I can say is you made my job very easy. You recorded yourselves very well, and as a result, we got some good content from that for the people, for the Instagram, all the social channels.
Yeah, let's actually, for everybody that doesn't know, Steve is the PTG creative director. He is the overlord of PTG. He's an amazing talent when it comes to finding creative ways to connect with the audiences. And he also leads the Discord, and everybody in the Discord knows young Stevie, and they love you so much. We actually have a ton of people showing out tonight in the Discord chat that have questions for you. You said you haven't looked at them, which is awesome, because normally you're all over it. So we're excited to talk with you about that too.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the questions are great. But Steve, real quick, let's talk a little bit about that, because it's something that I know Tyler and myself are really excited about. We're really excited to bring you on board in a little more in-depth capacity, because you provide a ton of value. And we've been talking about how can we take this thing to the next level, right? We want to be able to reach the masses on a much bigger level than we have. And the only way to do that is with a team, right? And you've been part of the team for a long time, and bringing you in, like I said, at a higher capacity just seemed fitting. But what are your goals with this opportunity, and where do you see PTG going?
It's a great question. I think I always we're going to the moon. That's first and foremost. But thinking back on it, PTG, what's so great about what you guys have created is the consistency. And in order for you to grow something, you need to be consistent. That's step one. So you guys being able to create a platform and elevate it to 209 episodes that's already unheard of. And, paintball is right on the cusp. With social media and the internet, it's so easy to reach an audience. And together, we're able to make great content, whether that's Instagram Reels or communities online with the Discord. There's so many channels to tap into, whether it's merchandise, right? There's just so many different directions. And that's something that I have a lot of experience in, and something that I'm incredibly passionate about. And recognizing where that opportunity was, that's where I wanted to step in with you guys early on and just say, hey, you give so much of yourselves to the sport and to the community. This is my way of giving back to you. And it's been great to get to that point where now we're a team. We've been doing great things for a while, and let's make it official and let's push it further.
Yeah, dude, you're speaking to my heart, Stevie. Man, that's what it's all about. It's all love for paintball, and we know that you resonate with that, and that's why you're such a perfect fit for the team, and you always have been. It's been so organic and natural since day one that we started this program. And obviously you guys work together, you and Marcello, quite closely with New York Wrecking Crew, so it's been an amazing fit on so many different levels. And dude, as a whole, on behalf of paintball and the whole community, Discord, and the world abound, dude, thank you for everything that you do for PTG, because the content that we're pumping out is amazing. We have, we're bridging the gap between professional athletes in different sports. We're bridging the gap between all the different facets of paintball, and we're able to get all this amazing paintball content out there and just keep boosting the game. And it's Team PTG over here, so we're rocking.
I love that, Ty. And, play the game is long form content, right? But that doesn't mean that there isn't, a plethora of short form content existing within that. So that's where, I'm looking to dig in and start creating more digestible versions of the episodes that somebody that's swiping through and has that quick attention span, they'll give you 20 seconds. They may not give you an hour and a half or two.
Yeah.
That audience does exist, and they're incredibly thankful for this, right? Myself included. But there's more out there, and together we're going to capture that.
Yeah. To the moon.
I love that, Steve. And, I think in a lot of the like 60-second clips, even on Instagram, if done properly, you can capture that attention for the full 60 seconds. And there's a lot of valuable bits of information that even in 30 seconds in some of these clips, right? Where it's like, wow, I just learned something from that. I see stuff on social media all the time where it's a 20, 30, 40-second clip that is incredibly valuable to myself. And if I want to then consume something long form, an hour and a half podcast, 3-hour podcast, happy to do that as well. But being able to benefit from the short form stuff is definitely something we really are looking forward to tapping into.
Yeah, you nailed that, right? And converting the short form audience into the long form audience is one of the great reasons, or even just converting that short form audience into maybe a community member, right? And joining our PTG World Discord, aka like the current PB Nation. You know what I mean? Like we're creating
PTG
that
Nation, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're creating that that whole community that existed in the early 2000s in paintball. Like everybody was on PB Nation. So hey, here we are. This is the way to do it now. And you guys are at the forefront. We are at the forefront.
Yeah, man.
We are. Absolutely.
I get it. And before we get off the France subject, I got to say thank you to Lori and Anthony so much for everything that they did out there. We absolutely love you. And shout out to all the Team USA members. We did it, and we're super thankful. And I do want to dive into New York Wrecking Crew, Steve. Oh, yeah.
Real quick, just to close that out. So the U.S., after this last event, did surpass Russia for overall gold medals in the Nations Cup.
No way.
So that is pretty epic. However, Russia was the first to complete the sweep and win all 5 divisions with the veterans, the men's, the women's, U19 and U16. And we are now the second nation to do that. But then we did surpass them in overall gold medals, which is pretty cool. And it's especially cool, actually, because for a long time, we weren't even allowed to play every year, right? The U.S. was the only country that had to play every other year. And we also didn't have like U19s teams. We didn't have our women's team over there. We only had our men's team. So it's actually a pretty big feat and shows how much the U.S. actually has won those gold medals over there, which is pretty cool.
Damn. I got the chills. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's epic.
Amazing. So Steve, talk to us about, we got the NXL layout that just dropped. We're rolling into Chicago. Everybody who's tuning into this is on their way or ready to tune into the big show on Go Sports. Talk to us about New York Wrecking Crew, what you guys did this weekend, how you're preparing for the event, and kind of, I know you don't want to give away any details, but just generality of how you're feeling about everything going into Chicago.
Yeah, so Wrecking Crew, we got a great opportunity. One of the new players that we picked up on our team, his name's Brody Lewis. He lives down in Virginia Beach. He has a great relationship, him and his dad, with NRG Elite. So we went down there with Marcello. We did a practice weekend, just us. And it was kind of almost like an audition. And their owner was like, hey, we're cool. Let's invite you guys. So we got invited to be a part of their Chicago prep rotation with the ML Kings and the Brooklyn Bears. And yeah, I mean, we got content popping up. We got the layout. So we went out, we got to go down there. We were part of that 4-team rotation. We played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were grinding points all day, every day, having a blast, learning, challenging ourselves. We were getting beat up a little bit. And we got to a point where by Sunday we were putting up points in every one of our sets. And tracking our progress. I mean, layout prep is probably one of my favorite parts of paintball. I almost value learning a layout more than playing the event, because it's so like challenging. And that's kind of where I feel like I shine is in breaking down layouts and stuff like that. So a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. It is extremely challenging. There's so many different layers, and this is a very creative field. Once again, NXL has done a great job. It's pretty interesting. We got the 4 cans in all the corners. We haven't seen that in quite some time. You have a very traditional snake that goes from one end of the field to the other. No secret about that being a powerhouse. Obviously, anytime you have a snake like that, it's going to be extremely powerful. And there's lots of creativity to be had with the Dorito side in the middle. There's tons of bunkers, as we've seen for the last couple seasons. And it's no secret that the moves are rewarded. You know, the current iteration of paintball rewards movement, and we're seeing it out here with this most current format layout for the NXL Chicago. And so what were the 4 teams again that you had out there practicing?
So it was us, NRG Elite, the Brooklyn Bears, and the ML Kings.
Dude, that's solid. That's a really solid lineup.
Absolutely. Yeah, what were the teams doing on this particular layout? What kind of advice do you think you could give to some of the lower divisional teams of, like, you know, what spots might be makeable? What bunkers should teams be trying to get to, that kind of stuff? And you don't have to give away what the pro teams were doing. I realize that's probably not a good look for our divisional program to be doing.
I don't
but
want to
just
go
an
too
overall, you know, for example, we realized very quickly that this is a shooter's field, right? If you don't connect on your shots on the break and the other team does, you're going to have a very tough time, because there's so many gaps, so many zones, so many different ways that you can shoot the exterior runners, the interior players. This was a huge off the break field. So I'm really curious to see how it plays at the tournament with even better paint, refs, the whole thing. I think you could shoot 3 bodies on the break. You know, we had some points that were like 20, 25 seconds because of that. So how was it breaking down for you guys at practice? And real quick as well, we're just going to do a short little breakdown here. Nick Sloviak is going to be doing a full breakdown on Guns Up for BKI. So you guys want to make sure to tune into that. That will be released on Wednesday. So head over to bkipaintball.com. You guys can use code PLAYTHEGAME to sign up and get a full, in-depth, very detailed breakdown on the Guns Up program, which is much better than this overhead view we have.
Yeah.
So I would start with saying, obviously, when you have a ladder snake that extends the full length of the field, huge spot. And the way that we approach layouts is we start with win conditions. Where do you get to win the game? And the very obvious one was the snake. So starting there, it kind of evolved into, wow, okay, we're really finding these 2-man operations on the field. So going from the snake side over, it's like, all right, well, these 2 guys are going to go here and do these 2 things. And what we were learning is, if this, then that became the most critical part of playing this layout. If this happens, then that happens. So those 2 guys are out on the snake side. Okay, if we get into the snake and we're alive and you're alive, then we do this. But if we get in the snake and they match us in the snake, then we got to do that. And so that was kind of where we started. And, you know, moving into the middle, it was very clear. It's like, wow, traps are rewarded on this field. If you put yourself in a position to set a trap in a certain spot, you're going to be rewarded for that. You know, over on that Dorito side, there's a huge death gap between the furthest Dorito and that giant brick, because there's so many places that you could go to and shoot that, where in order to put that guy in, you have to wrap really hard, or, you know, it was difficult. So that was kind of like the evolution of finding, you know, where those traps were, and then moving over to the Dorito side. To your point, it's like moves are rewarded, but you got to earn those moves. And we fell back on that 2-man operation type of setup. So we had a lot of fun playing a lot of 2-1-2 paintball, right? And evolving through the field like that. And I'm doing my best not to give away too much, but at the same time have like a good conversation about it. But to your point, Friday and Saturday we shot field paint, and then Sunday we shot event paint. We shot Ultra Evil, and lo and behold, you know, the breakouts, bombs started going off. Yeah, and that was absolutely a huge part of it. It's like some points were 20, 30 seconds long. And if you went 5 alive, the game started to slow down. We were playing like 10-minute situational matches. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and a lot of 2 guys working together is what we found.
Yeah, I love that it's like a more traditional field in that sense, to where you can use your teammate to help you get into spots, where a lot of the fields lately, it's more about just doing it on your own, because you couldn't really get into position to help your teammate get down the field because of the people that could stop your front players from making moves. Often you can't see them. On this field, you can reposition to put in the opponent that's keeping your teammate out of the snake. Or you know, on the Dorito side, it's not quite like that, although there's some amazing bounce shots. I'm just going to leave it at that. There's so many good bounce shots on this field. And if you guys have any time on the layout, or you're going to go practice on Thursday in Chicago, look at some bounce shots. It's so frustrating to me that people still mock bounce shots. It's really irritating. What are you doing? You think you're cool? All right, maybe you're cool, but you're probably not winning.
Winning is cool.
Yes, winning
Shoot
is very
bounce
cool.
shots.
And there are bounce shots on this field that can help you get out of almost any situation where like someone either gets into a really good spot and you can defend yourself off a bounce shot, or you're trying to get to one of those 50s and you can use a bounce shot to put someone in that you otherwise can't see. You know, one of those traps that Stevie was talking about. So bounce shots are critical. Again, I don't mind sharing this information because you know what, at the end of the day, everybody's going to be at the tournament and we're going to see people play, and it's still, people still have to put it together. And you know, an interesting thing about bounce shots is you can say the bounce shot, the specific bounce shot, but the amount of times that I've had a player say this bounce shot doesn't work, and I watch them do a whole loader and it doesn't work, and then I go over there, shoot like 4 balls. Actually, this has happened many times at your practice, Steve, right? We've done this with Wrecking Crew. I'm like, I promise you guys it's there. You shoot like 4 balls and it's like 3 of them connect. And it's like, you do have to hit the right spot on the bunker. You don't just blindly shoot into a bunker. You got to be really detail oriented about, you know, where you want to shoot.
Spitting facts.
Yeah,
Spitting big facts right now.
Angles
I know
matter.
Ty knows. He's a sharp shooter.
One of the coolest parts about the layout I felt like was when we had an objective. I'll just say that when we had an objective to get a player to a certain spot, we would analyze how the other team lined up on the box, and it's like, okay, we need you to put this specific gun in so that we can get this guy to that spot. And like that's pretty basic in terms of paintball, but when it came to this layout, like because your guys are just like staring at each other, it was really easy to kind of like read the box setup and audible in the moment. So like box calls were very important on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sharing that information and bridging the gaps, like you said, Stevie. And you said that it's kind of basic information, but honestly, I don't think it is to a lot of players out there. Like reading your opponent as you're about to break out is monumental to give yourself an edge on what they're going to do before this game happens. Also, knowing areas of the field that can slow you down or what's going to stop you in all these different situations and breaking through those prior to when you're stuck in the moment and have to deal with it live in that moment on the field without the preparation. You should have already tried to dive deep into the layers of the game and understand that there are going to be these moments in time where you're on the field and you're at a spot and there's this particular area that's going to slow you down, and how to navigate that and doing it tactfully, like Marcello said, with bounce shots. You can do it without even having to look at somebody. You can navigate the field without even having to have a barrel pointed at you and really give yourself an advantage on moving up the field if you dive into those layers. But it seems like it would be, you know, basic knowledge, but it really isn't. And the players that go the distance, like Marcello said, they're going to be found somewhere near the top or at the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. To kind of talk about that, you said like it's not basic, and you're right. And sometimes we take things for granted. Like I'm very fortunate. I have the opportunity to have Marcello, you know, be one of my coaches. So a lot of the things that we learn, like I said, we take it for granted. It's like, oh yeah, that's normal. Like, of course.
Yeah.
Like pro tip, if in divisional paintball, when you're standing at the box and it says 10 seconds, you shouldn't just line up for your breakout and stand there stiff, like waiting for the buzzer to go off. You know what I mean?
Totally.
You have 10 seconds. It takes you 1 second to prep yourself on the box. So if you put forth the effort to practice your box setup, your gun placement, your feet, and you understand how to adjust.
There we go. There we go, Steve.
You're counting down. It hits 3. Then you very quickly set up. The other teams, then they're like, and you get lost in translation. Pro tip, man.
Yeah.
A lot of divisional teams, that's one of the things I see is they're just like
they sell it.
The
it's
box.
10 seconds and they're statue looking exactly where they're going. For the listeners on YouTube, I'm trying to sell out right now on what I'm doing, you know, and you become very scoutable, right? And from a shooter standpoint, oh my goodness, that's best case scenario. If I know where you're going to go and what route, my chances of shooting you just increased exponentially. If I have to guess where you're going, now, if it's between going to, like, for example, on this field right here, if it's between going to the Dorito corner. So again, for the listeners over on the YouTube, we have a little layout up and I have the arrow on the screen. if you're going to the Dorito corner or up and over to this wedge or even this far Dorito, if it's between one of those two areas, I have to choose to shoot high or low. That means I have a 50-50 chance of guessing right. Then bring in the chances of me actually shooting you. Then bring in the percentage of the ball breaking, and me hitting you in a hard spot, right? So players don't really understand this. Like, if you can make the shooter guess on where you're going, that is a huge part of survivability.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know where you're going, so now I 100% know where you're going, my chances just go up so much because, okay, I've practiced that shot. I know exactly what shot to do. The timing is going to be much better because I'm not second guessing it. I can pull up, get my paint exactly where I want. I even have time to adjust while I'm shooting, and now it's really just whether or not I'm sharp and whether or not the ball breaks on you, it becomes so much easier to shoot people off the break. So that is a really good tip that you left there, Steve. And a lot of players.
To clarify that too, it's just like the angle of your body as
Correct.
a runner, like just lining up, facing where you're going. If you do it with people are gonna be like, well, whether if I do it with 3 seconds or 10 seconds, what's the difference? The difference is you're giving them 10 seconds to process what's happening versus 3 seconds while their teammates are talking to them.
Correct.
You got to give yourself every advantage you can.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Steve, shout out to Rob one time, New York Wrecking Crew.
Rob has some collusion going on in fantasy football right now in the PTG Discord, but we're not going to get into that nonsense. Steve and Rob played each other this week. Week 1, they're both together at practice, and Rob somehow just doesn't get players in. He has players that are clearly out.
Steve tried.
Ruled out on Friday.
Steve
I don't
tried.
understand. Somebody make me understand. Somebody make me understand.
We were so focused on playing the best paintball that we could that Rob just lost track of it.
Yeah.
Even though Steve did remind him.
Now Steve talks about himself in third person.
Here we are.
There he is. Steve the third. So
it's okay.
I want to ask you, what is it like playing for New York Wrecking Crew? It's one of the most successful divisional camps in the world right now, without a doubt. And it's a very fun culture. We love showing a great amount of attention to divisional paintball as well. Shout out to Paul, the OG in the Discord too. He loves it when we give that divisional love. That's what he actually has his own podcast, and he shows love to divisional players as well. And we just want to know what it's like playing for New York Wrecking Crew.
I mean, obviously it's the best team that I've ever played on, right? And that's because Rob and Marcello and the team, we are all bought into the vision, right? The culture of what a Titan, paintball program should look like. And it's from the players to the families involved, to the mission. Like, everybody's on the same page, right? And that's probably, if I were to circle back and kind of break down what I just said, it's like every single person involved with New York Wrecking Crew is on the same page. And I think that can be easily overlooked as that's not that big of a deal. But if you think about it, if you think about yourself playing divisional paintball and you're the guy on your team who cares so much and you put in all the effort and you're breaking down the layouts and you're building the plays and you're bringing all the stuff to practice, and then you kind of feel like you're alone. Nobody on this team feels alone. We are all in this together with the same vision, the same goal, and the same drive.
That's inspiring, man. That's inspiring to so many people out there, because there's a lot of people that don't have that in their camp, and what is it that could turn a camp that doesn't have that type of drive and connectivity and passion as a whole together to kind of turn over that leaf and start applying the same fundamental components that are allowing you guys to have such a bunch of success, essentially, right? What can other teams out there do to produce that?
I want to answer this without sounding too negative. I'm going to fall back on something that you two used to talk about a lot on the podcast, and that at some point you're going to reach a crossroads in paintball. You're going to have to choose going further in the sport or continuing to play with your friends. There are a few outliers where their friends are just as dedicated as they are, right? And you can do that together. But step one is surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And it's interesting that this is the young Stevie episode, right? Because this is kind of, you're talking about the start of, my paintball career, like my actual paintball career. And Marcello was coaching New York Wrecking Crew before I was a part of the program. And I got to witness that firsthand. And during COVID, I said to myself, you know what? I love this sport so much, and I want to do something more with it. I'm gonna reach out to Marcello. I'm gonna see if he'll come out and coach my local team. And that was kind of the foundation for really learning what it takes to go further. And he kind of came out and he coached my boys. Shout out to the Gator Gang. Friends
Yeah.
for life, right? Those were my friends. And I love those guys. I still love those guys. I still talk to every single one of them. For everyone who's like, I don't want to leave my friends because they're going to hate me, I still talk to every single one of those guys.
You can
But
still
came
they
out.
did, but
Yeah.
they did, quote unquote, hate you for a little bit.
They did.
You
And
go
you know
through
what?
that. It's naturally part
It
of
is.
the
It
process. It
sucks.
is what it is. That's
I
on them,
felt-
not yourself. As long as you do it the right way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it the right way, and hopefully, if they're truly your friends, they understand that you're trying to create a better situation for yourself because you have different goals. That's okay.
Mhm.
And I don't want to speak for you, Marcella, but I think I can say that that he recognized, myself and another member of my team at the time were like, there was more opportunity for us. And he presented us with that opportunity. And he said, hey, if I offered you guys to come play for Wrecking Crew, would you do it? And my first instinct was like, man, my friends are going to hate me. And yeah, you're right. They did. They were not happy, but I knew in my heart what I needed to like feel like, hey,
Mhm.
I have to do this in order, or else I'm going to, regret it forever. And we did, and we haven't looked back since.
Yeah, that was you and Tanner. Shout out to Tanner.
Pickleball pro Tanner.
Yeah, he's dominating. It's so funny.
He's on a
watching all
reality
this
TV
stuff.
show
Yeah, I
now.
know. I see that.
Crazy.
Reality
Wait,
TV show for
Hold on.
pickleball.
What? Which one?
Tanner
So,
Tomasi.
Yeah, he used to play for Wrecking Crew, and he
No, the
left
show.
sport.
What show?
Oh, it's called Paddle Battle.
Paddle Battle.
It's
All
not.
right.
It's not. It hasn't aired yet, but it's the first ever reality TV pickleball show.
They
Dude.
beat us to it.
Amazing.
I know, right? But yeah, so like long story short, it was one of those moments where you had to pick: am I going to go with my friends, or am I going to make something happen? And I chose to make something happen, and I don't regret it for a single second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember having very clear conversations with you for a long time. Like I had worked with your team, came out there, worked with you, but you and I spoke on a pretty regular basis. And our conversations were always about you and how you can improve in the team and what you should be doing and how you weren't getting the same in return. Right. And so it got to a point to where it was like, it was exactly that. The crossroads were there. And it was like, the reality is, if you want all the things you say you want, then a different path has to be taken. Right. Just because, again, like-minded people, it's important to surround yourself with like-minded people. Otherwise, you're not going to get to the place you want to go. If people are all going in different directions, you kind of get nowhere. No one gets where they want to go, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And who wants that? Right. It's actually worse off for them because what happens, right? You end up showing up to practice and events and you're early, you're on time, they're late. Why are they late? Because they don't care as much. And that's totally fine. Right? Why do they not put in the work during the week? Because again, it's just not a priority. But what does that do to you? It makes you resent them, right? So they show up, now you're mad at them. They're not having a good time. And I'm not saying you or Gator Gang. I'm speaking kind of generally right now.
Yeah,
right? Like this is what happens with players and teams. You want to be around people that all have the same agreement. That's why it's my first thing when I come in to coach an organization. It says, okay, what is the goal of the team? Right? Let's first accomplish that. What's the goal? All right. The goal is to win. Okay. Well, here's what's required. So here's all the players. Players, are you guys in on this? And we actually redo this almost every year with Wrecking Crew. It's the same team. Sometimes a few new players, but we redo this almost every year at the start of the season. We sit down and we say, what is the goal? Okay. Here's our goals. Here's what's required to get there. Is everybody here okay with that sacrifice? Are we all good with what it's going to take to actually get to that goal? Because that's the goal. If not, it's fine. There's plenty of other teams. You guys all will have opportunities, right? If you get everybody to agree, then you can move in that direction.
Yeah. And a lot of the teams aren't having that initial conversation.
Correct.
And that's really where the root of everything is you've got to have a clear vision of what we're doing here. You know, if we know right away exactly what everyone's intentions are and what our goals are, then we can navigate it appropriately. And you might even, and I would encourage you to try to get the most out of people. You know, there's going to be people that maybe that they don't push themselves that hard, or they don't have that extra drive like you have that drive. Maybe they need you in their life. Maybe they need you to help them. Maybe they need an extra little nudge in the right direction. So for the players that are inspired and passionate, and maybe there are some players that aren't as enthusiastic, try to be the best version of yourself and do everything in your power. Open up your heart to them, find out what's going on in their life, become a really good friend, and see if you can drive those wheels of inspiration for others that maybe don't have that hardwired into their brain, because it really is something learned. You know, you got to pick these things up from people, and maybe some people just haven't picked them up. So it could be a great way in your organization, maybe you're not getting the most out of it, to really dive deep and care about each other and get the most out of each other in every way possible. And it starts with what Marcello said, is having that conversation, having clarity, knowing where everyone's minds are at, and then we can really produce the best organization possible.
And to kind of follow up with that, right? Like, number one, the word sacrifice and paintball is kind of, I always think of, why are you, when you meet another paintball player, instantly friends? And it's like, you recognize the sacrifice that that person's made because you experience the same thing. But even further, you know, I get this a lot. It's like the term weekend warrior, somebody who shows up to the paintball field every single Sunday. They never miss a Sunday. They love paintball. They grind, right? They're like, I never miss a day. One day wasn't enough for me. I needed 7 days. I was not a weekend warrior, right? And I was surrounded by weekend warriors. And I don't use that as a negative term. You can be the man and be a weekend warrior and have as much fun, right? But when it comes to winning, are you going to win as a weekend warrior, where if you and your boys win a tournament, you guys are stoked and like that's the icing on the cake, because your ultimate goal is to just get out of the house and have fun with your boys, and everything is okay with that, right? Those types of players are awesome. That just wasn't who I was, right? And that's why I had to go and find more, because I needed 7 days a week. I needed to win. The fire inside of me to win is more important than anything else, right? The desire, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the passion for the game, man. And what are your personal like motivations and aspirations for paintball? What are your dreams in the game for your career in paintball?
You know, not to sound sappy, but you too inspired me that I could play pro paintball, right? Listening to this like program early on, and being able to connect with your ideology and the way you guys thought and the way you talked about the game and the way that I felt like this makes so much sense to me. And the idea that paintball is like 80% mental and 20% physical, I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I'm going to work on that physical aspect. Like, not that I'm like, you know, crazy out of shape or anything like that, but I'm not tiny and fast.
Marcello's been calling you the snack god. I don't know what's going on in the Discord. It's been popping off in there, dude. It's been going crazy.
Like,
it's the cookie monster, dude.
Yeah,
my boy over here knows how to snack. He's got them damn snacks on lock. I'll tell you what.
Not a chance. But
if you're in the Discord, goal, you know what's going on here.
The goal is to beat the accusations. No, the goal is to play pro, and I'm gonna edit that. The goal is not to play pro. The goal is to win at pro, because going pro is not good enough, right? You can get there and you can say, yeah, I made it to pro, and you can fizzle out. But until you force yourself to put in the effort that it takes to win at pro, that's what I want to do. And I've surrounded myself with like-minded people to do that. And yeah, you know, I have an incredible support system at home. My wife, Brandy, she's like, yo, chase your dreams.
Dude, and she's a rock star.
She really is a rock star, man. Shout out to Brandy one time. And you know, this is one
of those sports. 100 million times, infinity times.
She's the best.
You go tell her that you said just one time.
No, she'll listen to this and she'll hear it, but she'll be happy you corrected me. But you know, when I go full circle back to that word sacrifice, that means you're sacrificing time away from your family. And you need somebody that supports your dreams and your drive. And I have that, right? And that's
Imperative.
fundamental to being able to improve and grow and go far in this game.
You are so right. You are so right. It takes a team, it's everybody. And that's why we talk about being the best teammate you can be. It's not just on the field, it is off the field, because it takes everybody working together, caring about each other to make that dream a reality. And I love that you said, going pro is the first step. We see a lot of players go pro, and then, like you said, maybe they it just doesn't work out for them for whatever reason. But to win a pro tournament really takes another type of cadence. It takes another type of drive that could take a very, very long time. So my best advice to any player that does go pro or is looking to go pro, win pro tournaments, just be patient with yourself and don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Understand there is a process to be had to attain that. Do everything in your power to make that process come together in whatever way that you can. Physicality, mentality, doing the work, the muscle memory, the drills, the overall understanding of how paintball is played. There's a lot of layers to the game, but just be patient with yourself and enjoy it. Marcello and myself and countless other pros have been playing for well over 20 years, pro paintball at the pro level. And a lot of the wins and success didn't happen for some time, maybe a little bit earlier for some, later for others. But if you're just patient with yourself and you really enjoy the fact that you get to play paintball and you get to play paintball, that is really the gem. That's the jewel. That is the golden nugget that you get to have in your life, because we all know what this game does for us on so many levels. So just enjoy the process. If you go pro, if you play divisional, it doesn't matter. Just go out there and have fun, do the best you can, and chase your dreams. Steve, I want to see you on that pro field. I want to see you dunking on people and hoisting
Dunking
up a
on you,
trophy.
Tyler.
Bullshit. I want to see you.
Listen, can I tell you? Can I add a new goal?
I was quick on that.
Do you guys have like a mood board, right? Or like a stretch goal? Marcello's never been bunkered in a 1v1. That's like my
right?
life goal.
Yeah,
I'm going
that's
to bunker him
100%
in a
right.
1v1.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen, buddy. No chance.
Never say never.
I never look one direction for that long. Like,
listen, we are the same age. All right. As long as I can just continue playing while you're playing, there's an opportunity.
Zero. The opportunity is zero. Literally zero.
It is on tape.
Zero.
It is on
zero.
tape.
Yeah, on both ends too. Both ends.
I didn't say it had to be clean.
On both ends.
I didn't say it had to be clean.
You're gonna pull the Rob. Oh my god, that video is great. When Rob played Coach George, he's just coming at him. Okay, I mean, well, if that's the rules, then anything can happen, I guess. But that seems a little ridiculous. Make it to the pro field first, and then we'll talk.
There we go, Steve.
I got a great mentor that's helping me work towards it.
Hey,
I mean, dude, I figured you would be coached by then.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, yeah. Don't come at me on my own show.
No, that's
tripping,
fair.
dog. You come at me and Tyler.
I like that.
You wild,
I like that
dude.
challenge.
You wild.
I'm pushing myself. I'm becoming a more dynamic player every time you see me.
There we go, man. Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I do too. And actually, something, Steve, that I got to say about you is your game was always pretty conservative and played. You were a back player. You do your job very well. Good communicator, good connector. And I started putting you in this role to like go up the center and attack a lot more. And you fully own it in practices, like more than almost any player that I coach. When you go from that pace to the pace that you do bring it to in practice, and it doesn't always work out, but I'm fine with that because you're learning along the way. But you really do explore that aggression through the middle, which is a really tough position to play, really tough thing to do, especially for a player that is used to being more conservative, playing in the back. How do you tap into that mindset and just flip that switch for, the players that are listening that are kind of stuck, in the back and can't figure out how to make those moves?
That's an awesome question. And it goes back to, again, play the game, man. If you're 3, what does that mean? That doesn't mean you're a back player. It just means you're the third guy in the snake. And as soon as you buy into that philosophy, like, okay, I might not be the first attacker. I might not be the second attacker, but at some point I'm going to become the attacker. Like you have to play every position on the field, right? We talked about what are you going to call that role? The quarterback. I'm the quarterback on Wrecking Crew. That's who I've always been. And something that we're trying to do as a team is we're trying to put 5 quarterbacks on the field so that when you have 5 people who are at a moment's notice ready to direct all the traffic, your number could get called and you could now be the attacker. So having that mindset, then it shifts to Marcello like inspiring us at practice, challenging us, forcing us out of our comfort zone. It's like that's when the magic happens, when you're outside of your comfort zone. And it was like, am I going to step up to the plate and, evolve beyond just being the guy who sits at the home and shoots 9 pods and tells everybody what to do? But no, I'm going to go down the field. I'm going to start dunking on people. And, believe it or not, guess who's not playing the home at this event, right? I'm in an attacker role, unusual for me, but I was performing. I knew my shots. I knew my checklist. I was getting to all my bunkers and shooting bounce shots and, dunking on pro players and making it happen. And that's, just because of a philosophy change. I am not the 3. I am just the 3rd attacker.
Yeah, I love what you said about the quarterbacks too, because in paintball, that's one of the most unique aspects of this sport is that everyone at some point in the game is going to be the quarterback. And you've got to be open to that mindset of taking the game, putting it in your hands and building that picture that we've been talking about relentlessly. Sometimes the picture is going to be built from the front. Sometimes it'll be built from the Dorito side or the snake side. But at some point in the game, someone is going to build that picture and get all the information, compartmentalize it and distribute it out and help their teammates and be a quarterback for the team. So everybody that's out there needs to be really open to understanding the game in that manner. And it's something that, like we said before, you think it's kind of obvious, everybody pass the ball around, connect, but it's not. And you've got to really take that and make it a prevalent thing that your team is doing out there.
What's crazy, Ty, we've won a few tournaments, right? Like it's great. In not a single finals did we win a tournament with me sitting in the back center. Mm-hmm. One of them, I'm crawling down the snake to make a big play to put us ahead, right? Another one, filling the snake, making good plays or attacking down the Dorito side. So again, like it's just you when you put yourself in a box, that's where you're stuck.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself.
So true, man.
Steve, another question. This is something we talk about on the show a lot. We even brought it up in this episode a little bit. The gifts of the game, right? What paintball can do for you, what it's done for us on a personal level outside of paintball, or, what it has taught us. What are some of the most valuable gifts of the game, per se, that paintball has given you?
Man, team sports in general really teach you how to function with other people. And paintball, even further, you're in such a high pressure situation. So I think it allows you to really navigate through difficult situations with other people and good conflict resolution. Overall, paintball it puts you in difficult positions that you have a moment's notice to fix. And that translates very well into business, into relationships. Like you have to be quick on your feet in this game. And then when you have the opportunities in life, it's easy because you're like, man, I deal with way more difficult shit on the weekends all the time.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy.
It is amazing how everything translates. There's this funny saying that like everything is everything, and
facts.
It's very funny when you look at the game of paintball and how many translations go into your everyday life, your relationships, like you said, your business, networking, all of these things, they all go hand in hand. And paintball can be such a powerful tool to help you in your real life in so many different ways with branching out, meeting new people, building new relationships. And at the end of the day, that's what life is all about. Building genuine relationships that'll last a lifetime where you guys can grow together, and nothing does that quite like paintball does.
When you're in a bunker and you got 3 guys shooting at you, right? And your life is on the line and you got to turn to the guy next to you and tell him what you need. And you're under that pressure. And then, you just got to talk to a random stranger. It's like, whatever. Like those high pressure situations just make you so cool, calm, and collected when you're off the field. It's great.
Absolutely, man. All right,
everything is everything. We're putting that on a shirt. So
hey, that's new.
Everything is everything.
We're going to be talking.
Okay. We're running with that. All right, Stevie, I want to dive into your backstory in the game. How did you start playing paintball? Like, how did this crazy adventure start?
I was a young buck, like 2006, 2007, and shout out to Wawa one time. If you know, you
Wawa.
know.
Yeah.
Uh, it- in the old days, when you walked into a Wawa, they had all these pamphlets, and one of the pamphlets was this Hunter Orange Skirmish USA paintball pamphlet.
No
And
way.
me, I saw that and I was like, yo, that is a real life video game. I want to play that. And that was like where I had learned about the sport. And then my dad took me and I had so much fun. We went to this field, Captain Carl's, which is now a movie studio for M. Night Shyamalan. But all the
No.
local people from the Philly area definitely know Captain Carl's. And they had a few speedball fields and then they had a hyperpipes field. And we'd get there and Captain Carl's had like a semi-pro NPPL team. And they're shooting like the Ego 6 and the Intimidator. And it sounded like just, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term, intimidating. And those drums were ripping. I was mesmerized. I was like, I'm not playing woods ball. Like, no way. No offense to woods ball players. I totally get it. It's just not for me. I watched speedball from day one. That was
Wow.
it. I was hooked. It was a real life video game. And I played for a few years just as a young kid. You know what I mean? Playing every chance I had with the money that I had. And then I went to college, walked away from the sport until I became, an adult with some expendable income. And then it was over. I went on PB Nation. I was like, hey, where can I play street ball in the Philly area? And it was like a week later because PB Nation is totally dead now. But somebody was like, hey, go to Apocalypse Paintball. I went on a Wednesday night, started playing street ball, got to meet some incredible people. Fun fact, one of the first people I ever met getting back into the sport is now playing on Wrecking Crew. Talk about full circle. We needed a snake player. So Stevie Reyes, we picked him up. He was the first person that was kind to me in this sport. I got to repay him that favor and get him a tryout, and then he killed it. Absolutely.
Stevie's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of my like paintball journey. And I only did that for maybe about a year before COVID hit. Just played a couple of local tournaments, nothing crazy. And Play the Game came out and I really recognized the opportunity, and that kind of falls back on what we talked about before.
Wow. Dang. So you've only been recently back in the game for about 4 years?
I've been only actually like taking this sport seriously for maybe 3 years.
Dude,
2 years with Wrecking Crew and about 1 year where I tried to make it work with my own team.
Yeah.
Banging my head against the wall.
That's tremendous. And the Gator Gang is one of the best paintball team names ever. I got to say, shout out to the Gator Gang.
So we were from Apocalypse and we were the Gator Gang, so we were Ag.
Hey, let's go. Dude,
yeah.
Shout out to Shyamalan. Yeah, Shyamalan, that Signs movie, that's all time. That's crazy that the field that you started at is now where he shoots some of his
films
films.
a lot of his movies around this area. And then, he just decided to open up a movie studio, keep it local.
Yeah.
And it took a while for him to come out with something cool, but, he's taking it out there.
Y'all know that scene where that alien walks across the little alleyway there? And
we were talking about that this weekend. As a kid, dude, that might scared us the shit out of you.
Yeah. That was
we watched Prometheus as a team. So Wrecking Crew, one of our fundamental philosophies is spending time together, right?
Absolutely.
When we're at the field, when we're not at the field. Marcello has instilled that in us. So something that we did for a long time is we always have movie night. And what it is, it's like, hey, when you get back to the hotel, whatever you want to do it. But at this point in time, we are all getting together. We're all doing something together. And for a long time, we were watching funny movies, whatever raunchy comedy the kids, wanted to get up there, The Hangover, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And recently, it's been sci-fi movies. So we watched Prometheus this weekend and we were blowing some minds. It was good.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
The kids have not seen so many great, iconic movies, too. It blows my mind when we bring up titles and they're like, what's that? Huh?
Oh,
what's that?
Makes me feel old.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
man.
wild. It's wild.
I mean, I know you guys have showed them the Goonies, right? That's a staple.
Nope.
A little too wholesome for them.
Wait, they've never seen the Goonies, or they don't?
They may have, but that's not what they're looking for.
That's a great one.
I'd be willing to bet they've never seen the Goonies.
Yeah, we got to run that one time.
The Goonies is great.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Maybe that might be a Chicago.
Dude, these kids are savages, though. I don't like Colton watches probably the worst of all of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Stevie's like,
don't want to
yeah,
repeat some of the things.
No, please don't. This is
yeah,
a family-friendly show.
It is.
that's right.
It
That
is.
is right.
Yeah.
Young Stevie, before we let you go, I want to dive into Flow Paintball. That's your baby. That's what you've been working on tirelessly, and super proud of you and everything that you're doing with that project because it's really cool. Tell us a little bit about Flow Paintball, how it started, and just some interesting things that you got cooking up for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back again, play the game, right? Talking about flow state all the time, that speaks to me. And the idea that paintball is more mental than it is physical, that speaks to me. And if you look in the space at the time, there really wasn't a brand that kind of represented that philosophy. And everything was like athletic, like kind of, mimicking all of the popular sports brands in their own way, very successfully. I love everything about, paintball brands. And I just felt like there was a disconnect with the people who really bought into the concept of, mental over physical.
Yeah,
And flow, we're not championing the fact that you don't need to be physical. All I'm saying is tapping into the flow state. It's a very it's a moment of mental clarity, right? And that
Mhm.
was the inspiration behind the brand. And we've since evolved into different avenues. And the way that I like to approach it is from the perspective of like a boutique streetwear brand. So I've always been into collecting sneakers. I've always been into fashion, and it was like a pipe dream. I was like, yeah, like I would start a clothing brand. And then one day I did. I just started a clothing brand,
Yeah, you
and
did.
I had to learn
That's
everything.
amazing.
I had to meet suppliers. I had to understand fabrics, and you
Yeah,
know, I knew that when you bought something from Flow, you had to be like, "Damn, this is the coolest thing I own," or "This is the
mhm.
nicest shirt in my closet." And that was, the foundation for what I wanted to create. And then to go one step further, I wanted to have designs or product that just it was different. Not only was it nice, but it didn't look like what the other guys were doing. And that here we are. It's been working out really well. We've kind of tapped into some unique things like the tank wraps. Surprisingly, nobody's ever made a tank wrap. I was like, okay, we're gonna make tank wraps. And
Yeah,
the reason that I love the tank wraps is because having a brand is one thing, but everybody plays on a team. And when you walk out on the field, you're representing your team. And something that I had that was unique to me working, jobs that I've worked in an office or whatever, you find that one thing that makes you feel unique and feel like you and what represents you. Maybe that's a pair of sneakers or whatever. The tank wrap, I was like, this is a way for you to be unique on the field. I'm repping my team. I'm fulfilling my obligations there. But this one thing gets to tell the people watching me like where my mind's at. And there were a few different things that I toyed around with, and that was the one that stuck, and people seem to be really embracing that.
And
yeah.
it's where the air flows through.
This guy's a jokester up here. Look at him. Yeah, go ahead, hit it. I thought you had it ready to go. You waited too long to give yourself that credit. But
Oh
to your
boy.
point, Ty, like to the second half of your question, we're not done yet, right? Like making clothes is one thing. I want to expand into products, but I want to do it the right way. And there's a lot of ideas out there, and there's some collaboration conversations in the works. We're gonna keep growing, keep grinding.
That's it, man. It's amazing to see, like you said, street culture inspiring paintball culture. Obviously, Hostile Kids have done that. Hormesis, they use street culture and that kind of essence to inspire their clothing. And
Tiger Wear,
Tiger Wear
Project.
project,
There are
yeah,
so many cool paintball companies right now. It is awesome. It's great for the
Huge
sport,
facts.
yeah.
More
And
small
Flow,
brands, the better.
absolutely, man. Support the community, support everybody.
And
It's all love for paintball.
Hormesis, in my opinion, like does this the best. There's something special when you create a brand that speaks to individuals inside and outside the sport. So something that I've experienced with the brand is that everyone's like, my wife stole my shirt, or my friends are
Yeah.
asking me where I got this shirt from. Because when you wear something from Flow as a paintball player, it means something to you, right? You know what it's like to be in the flow state on the field, just ripping it. But then
Mhm.
you can be in a kitchen in the flow state, ripping it, at your job, doing whatever. So it transcends the field without, sacrificing its roots in paintball. And
Mm.
that's, really what I guess, like, ultimately that's what I tried to accomplish. And I think we're doing a good job.
Mhm. Yeah, there's no better feeling than getting into that flow state. It's such a powerful feeling, and the best players in the world, they enter another realm. They enter a flow realm, a whole other aspect of reality where they're processing information at a very high speed and able to get into a rhythm in the mind of reading seams and getting into that flow. So it is a very powerful brand. We're super stoked for you to keep growing with it and having fun, man. And everybody show love for Stevie out there. It's all love for paintball. We talk about it all the time. We want to make sure that this entire facet of this sport is going to be successful, and it all comes from us supporting everyone in it. So show love. When you see Stevie at the field, I'm sure he's got some tank wraps and stickers and all that good stuff with
I
him.
try and
Nomad
I try and
drops
keep
too.
it. I know. So
Yep.
we do online sales and we do nomad drops. So nomad, exactly by the definition, you don't know where we're going to be and you don't know when we're going to show up. But if I'm there and we do a nomad drop, you got to hit me up and see what I got on me.
Yeah.
One of the things with Flow too is every piece is limited, and I don't make anything twice. And it's not because I don't love the designs that I make, but I want it to be a relationship with that moment in time that you received it, right? So you can trace, hey, these shorts, for example, the Chicago shorts, they have this incredible coniferous forest design that I put together. They're white with the black silhouette on the bottom. If you have a pair of those, you know exactly when and where and why,
Hmm.
right? And that is, again, kind of like what Hormesis does with their drops. That was inspiring for me to say, hey, I have this piece of cloth in my hand. I can tie it to a
Mhm.
certain place and time. And that's what we really try and capture.
Awesome, dude. Well, Stevie, you haven't looked at the Discord questions. I say it's time to jump in there. The community showed out. We
Hopefully
got
they were
lots
nice
of
to me.
questions. I'm going to start out with our man Paul. Shout out to Paul. Did It Hurt podcast. He wants to know, what up, Sugarfoot? What is the most important quote you have heard or used that keeps you ready and focused in the finals? I'm very proud to see such a driven young man give it all in something positive, brother. Love you, dude.
Well, Paul, first off, I appreciate you for calling me young. And then secondly, I'm going to go and steal a quote from one of my favorite people, Big Rob, the owner of New York Wrecking Crew. And he says, it takes miles to be good, but inches to be great.
Mm.
And I really
I've
embody
stolen
and
that quote too.
embrace that. It's huge, right? It applies to everything, whether you're in the finals, whether you're at work, whether you're, doing something with your family. Don't overlook the small details just because you did a lot of hard work. It's
Mhm.
everything matters.
Yeah, I love that. All right, we got rounder 11. I know you kind of hit on this, but Steve, what made you want to start Flow?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like there was an underserved market within the paintball community, and I said, why not me?
Yeah, heck yeah, man. You're crushing it with it. Shout out to Rounder too. He's such an amazing guy
Jordan
out
is the
there.
man. OG
SoCal.
GOAT.
Yep, he's an OG goat. Thank you very much for being here, Rounder.
All right. I've got Dan Shelley from Sheldoff Photos. Major shout out to Dan Shelley. Got to see him out in Texas this weekend. He's the man. He wants to know, how does it feel to be a fantasy football commissioner running 2 leagues filled with collusion?
Next question. No,
I plead the fifth.
I think that being a commissioner, that you never win. You can never win because you're in two places,
touche.
right? Like, I love football. If I win the league, Oh, of course the commissioner won the league. If somebody does something that another person disagrees with and like you have to pitch sides, like you're never going to win. If somebody doesn't set their lineup, apparently it's your responsibility as well, right? Like you have to make sure everybody sets their lineups in Marcello's world. And
That's
doing
not
it
what I said.
in,
Never said
in
that.
two
Don't
leagues.
twist my words. Don't twist my words.
Doing it in two
Never
leagues.
said that.
You know, it's for the culture, baby. Sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad.
You got
That's
to
it.
take the good of the bad. FTC.
All right, we got E Lambs. Stevie, I saw a real Dynasty poster the other day of Chris, and he had a Flow tank wrap. What is it like seeing some pros rocking your brand?
It's amazing. The pros have been on that from day one. My two boys right here supporting
Yes,
from the rip. You know, there's this feeling that all right, fun fact, I don't have any my wife and I, we don't want kids, we don't have kids. And everybody always says like, you don't understand what it's like until you see like your child that you've created and this feeling that you have. And I have no desire to have that specific feeling. So I can only imagine that when I see people wearing designs that I've made and like tapping in and buying into this vision of this brand, I'm like, man, I feel like a proud father
Yeah.
Oh,
in that
boy.
moment. I'm like,
We
I
just
know,
compared tank wraps to children.
listen, in my life, bro, my children are my cats. No, I understand how wildly different those two things are, but what I
Of course.
mean is
It's your
that sense
baby.
of pride.
Yeah.
It is
yeah.
my baby.
I get
It's
it.
like I'm
I get it.
seeing my baby grow into something that other people appreciate,
Yeah.
right? And that means a lot to me. So it's cool. The answer is it's
Mhm.
cool.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. The Dorfster 420. I would like to ask young Stevie about rituals and what are some of his pregame practices before a match. What is your way of getting into that flow state before hitting the field?
Dorf. Shout out Dorf one time.
Yep.
Music. For me personally, the sonic needs to be immaculate. And
Dude, the Sonic
there's
loader,
usually
it shoots so good.
the sonic. Usually like every event, there's like a song that kind of hits for that event.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'll tap into that. And that really gets me laser focused until Rob yells at me and then I'm pulling it elsewhere.
All right,
Love it.
we got Nick. Stevie, when are you coming back to Rock Hill so I can take that coin? Also, when you decide to hang up the cleats, do you think that you'd be interested in coaching? And you also did a training event. How did that go?
Yeah,
Trying to
Nick
get
is
you
from the
up.
Wreckers, man. So shout out to the Wreckers and in South Carolina one time. Wreckers, one of my great friends that I met through Play the Game. His name is BJ. He comes and he runs the pits for New York Wrecking Crew, along with another dedicated pit member. His name's Nate. So shout out BJ, shout out Nate. Unbelievably selfless individuals that come to all of our events and keep our pits immaculate. And BJ was like, hey, come down to Rock Hill, teach my boys. So we set it up. I went down there. I hesitate calling it a clinic. We did just a practice essentials weekend. I taught them how to practice based off everything I've learned with Marcello. And they really rose to the occasion. They grinded very hard for 2 days. So shout out to the Wreckers. Fun fact, they did all that prep. They did it for a few weeks on their own. The next tournament they went from wherever they were finishing to being in the finals. And then they got a rain delay. So they have to finish the event at the next tournament on a different layout. So I don't vibe with that. I think that stinks. But talk about validation. They invested in themselves. They brought me out. They grinded hard. And now they're boom, right there fighting for that first tournament victory. That's incredible. And shout out to the Wreckers. I hope that they pull that out. But yes, I think I could definitely be a paintball coach when my cleats get hung up.
Cam Clifford. we got Cam. He says, Stevie, what's your go-to snack on tournament day?
Nutter Butters.
Stop it. Listen,
Hot Cheetos.
I don't know how this has happened.
Peanut butter cups.
Marcello has
Cookies.
crafted
Cookies?
this
Kraft
In-
cheese, mac and cheese.
Kraft. It's Kraft.
It's Kraft. Next question.
the real answer is honey stinger waffles.
Ooh.
Honey stinger waffles are dope on
Just
game
an
day.
excuse for sugar.
But it is character
They're bomb, though.
assassination that Marcello has constructed of thin air with this snack god meme. And like I said, Wrecking Crew does everything together as a team. We go at the end of the day, we're getting, a little something sweet. And March just likes to hand me things and then film me holding them, and then magically I'm eating them. And I'm not going to say that I haven't had a snack here and there, but it just so happens to be that if every
It's just
single
a snack,
time
bro. Stop it.
you
It's just a snack.
indulge,
You're talking
every
about this
single
thing
time
like
you
it's heroin or
indulge in
something,
something
dude.
sweet, that
I
there's
may
a
have-
camera pointed at you.
Goodness, bro.
Dude,
It's just
don't
a
worry
cookie.
about it.
It's all good.
I got some Starburst and like
Yeah,
some,
dude.
I don't eat that kind of stuff anymore. If I
come
do
on.
Vice, I do chocolate or like a high chew or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Dude, we went to this candy shop in Rome right by the Trevi Fountain. I actually brought some back. They're like these strawberry gummies. They're the best gummies that I've ever had in my life. They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. My goodness. Made me think of when you brought up Starburst.
Snack it up, Stevie.
Yeah, snack it up, Steve. It's all right,
No,
dude.
see, when you say that, you sound like you're encouraging my
Snack it up,
bad
bro.
behavior. The bad behavior doesn't really exist.
This is true. We're not encouraging it. But if you want to have a lot of snacks, you can have a lot. It's okay. We support you on the snack god journey. We support you on this journey. All right. Collusion. We have let's see.
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah. Elams, you can join one pro team. It can't be Dynasty or Heat. Which team do you join? And what do you think would be the best fit for you? New York Wrecking Crew doesn't exist in this hypothetical situation.
I mean, we're not a pro team, so I wouldn't give that answer. But I really liked the Hurricanes organization. I like the style of paintball they play. They win as a team. There isn't really anything flashy going on. It's just fundamentally sound, strong, well scouted paintball. I think I would love to be a part of that organization.
Love that. Yeah, totally.
Okay, just so everybody knows, I'm down to my last 5% on my battery. So we're going to be rocking here. I got Lord Boogerbeard in the building. Stevie, he's super proud of you. This is long overdue. What GOAT meeting has been your favorite meeting so far? And he's super proud of you being here since the beginning, and watching you grow has been absolutely amazing.
Oh man, what GOAT meeting? That's a great question. Probably the Christmas episode, man. It just feels so good to give back to everybody, and everybody's in great spirits. Marcello's getting attacked by Christmas trees. We're just making it happen out there. There's always something special about the Christmas episode.
It is.
Yeah.
I love Christmas time and the GOAT meetings. That's the best time of the year. Like paintball season, we're in the off season. We're having fun. It's a good time.
Marcello's snacking.
Tons of giveaways. Oh, we're snacking, dude. We're having hot cocoa. Pour some whiskey in there, whatever you want, Yeah, put the marshmallows in.
2-hour mark in the GOAT meetings, Marcello's having a great time.
Wine-infused cannolis were a thing one of the years. That was a big thing. I'm going to bring them back this year. Wine-infused cannolis. Those are bomb.
Yep.
Okay, Jay Lamb. He wants to know, Stevie, thanks for all you do in the community. We need more people like you. What do you think the best attribute a coach can have for his team? This might be a learning experience for me.
Oh, dude, intention. Bring intention to everything, right? Intention to the game plan, intention to the structure, bring intention to your goals. If you can all align on the same intention, everything else is easy.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Obviously you're incredibly good at that. So,
all right, boys, 3%. We're down to 3% here.
Keep it ripping.
Ben, what are some ideas or goals you have for Flow long term?
I just want to continue to create something that people can connect with, and I would like to eventually expand into some product.
Nice. There we go.
Yeah, amazing, dude. I'm trying to think. I think we got most of them. Oh, BJ, shout out to BJ Manny's. If you could take the knowledge you have now and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Don't do anything that pleases other people, right? Just do what lights the fire in your heart, and that's what you're going to look back on in life and be most proud of, that you chased your dreams. And then secondly, invest in Apple.
I mean, or Tesla. I think Tesla was probably a little crazier, right?
Yeah, but if my
Amazon.
I'm talking about my younger self at the time, invest in Apple.
Got it.
Amazing.
Dude, can you imagine? I wish we had that crystal ball.
Oh, geez.
I've been working with and for Apple for around 11 years. It's been very good to me in my life, and I'd still go back in time and tell me to invest in myself more.
There we go. Full circle. All right, my last one is from Cyrus. Stevie, as you continue to develop your game, what is an area that you are currently trying to improve?
We talked about this earlier. I'm trying to be more dynamic on the field and push myself into roles that other people don't see me in, so that when it is time for me to be the general, that I am unbelievably aware of each individual's job so that I can do it to the best of my ability.
Amazing, man. And by the way, I love your background. You got the PTG colors flying with the lights in the background. That's sick. And we love you, Steve.
Hey.
Dude, thank
Yeah,
you
we
so
do.
much for everything you do for the paintball community, for PTG, and just being a great overall dude in the space. We're absolutely honored and grateful to be able to watch you develop your career, your brand, and be a part of this PTG family with us, man.
Speaking of PTG fam, they were so nice to me.
They didn't. They weren't bad.
They weren't bad.
I am shocked. I'll bet
They
you
love
what's
you,
going to
dude.
happen is all the West Coast guys are going to be late to the punch, and people are going to start putting questions in there late that are going to be coming at my neck. But
all right. 1%.
1%.
All right, you got 1%. Let me hit this really quick.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much to you guys first and foremost. Thank you to my beautiful, fucking wonderful, perfect wife, Brandy, for supporting me and my dreams and pushing me to be the best that I can be every single day.
Yes.
And thank you to New York Wrecking Crew, Rob, all my teammates, our coach George, for believing in me and always, being there through the time. Thank you to Ian Rolfson, my favorite pro player. He plays for Level Up. You guys don't count because that would be too easy. That's my boy right there.
He played great this
person.
weekend. He played phenomenal.
He pushes me, man. He inspires me so much to just be an absolute freaking dog on the field. He is a dog. And if you don't know his name now, you're going to know his name soon. And, thank you to the Play the Game community for spreading positivity and showing everybody that paintball is not a negative thing. There is a reason to care. And just shine a light through all that shit out there that people spread. If you're not in PTG world, you're missing out, because we are positive every single day, growing the sport and picking each other up. If I missed anybody, I'm so sorry, but I got a lot of people out there that I appreciate and value, and you can give me a hard time in person and I'll give you a hug and tell you that I love you.
We love you too, young Stevie, man, and we can't wait to see you soon in Chicago. Everybody have safe travels out there. My computer is going to die right now. Right now.
Perfect.
Any second.
It's been excellent. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Steve, you're the man. See you soon. Peace.
See ya.
Peace, boys.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, as always, please head over to ptgpaintball.com. Click the Patreon link in the top left corner. It's the orange box that'll give you access to our Discord. The Discord has everything you could ever want, everything you could ever dream of. It's in there. You can imagine it. We've got it. Okay, maybe not quite, but it is a fantastic community loaded with positivity and awesome paintball news, content, stories, friends, all of the above. All right, everybody. As always, we will see you very soon.